Echo, the show about Maya, who is a deaf, one-legged, indigenous woman. Yeah, Disney. You are not looking like you are just checking checkboxes with this show. No, not at all. The first episode starts with a flashback to ancient times when the first Choctaw named Chafa led her people out of a cave after drinking some special water. And that's how first Choctaws appeared on Earth. And this is exactly what happened. I'm not missing anything. That's all you get in the show. Completely all. Next, we have another flashback to young Maya getting into a car accident with her mom. Her mom dies, and she loses her leg. But do you want to know how she loses her leg? Like this. Whose idea was this? This is not a type of injury that leads to leg removal. I had worse when I was around Maya's age. A whole rusty tube went into my leg, and I still have my leg. And I wasn't even at a hospital like Maya was. It's horrible. You can't even write injuries properly. It could have been that her leg was crushed or something, not this small, stupid shard of glass. It's also said that the Lopez boys are behind the crash, because they cut the brakes. But this is literally the last time in the show that it's mentioned, so there is no reason to think about it much. Then her father goes with young Maya to New York and works for Kingpin. Then we have Hawkeye flashback and recap. Not important for this show, to be honest. Except one thing, we get to see again how Kingpin gets shot in the head from nearly point blank and survives. Because this is the MCU. Why not? During these flashbacks, we also get to her first assignment for Kingpin. And it's the only scene where Daredevil appears. It's a horribly choreographed fight scene where everyone is saying how it's amazing because it's a one shot. But they totally ignores how the hits completely miss and certain moves are completely stupid. Then we are finally at present time for this show. That's near the end of episode 1, by the way. She travels to Oklahoma, to her childhood home, and decides, for some reason, to attack Kingpin's organization right there. And I want to ask, just as her uncle asked her, why are you bringing your war here? Maya never properly answers that question, and most importantly, she never suffers any bad consequences for this horrible decision. Because of course, this is modern MCU. Our characters are always perfect and correct. And because it's time for a queen. Episode 2 is literally just a stealth attack on Kingpin's train. Put a bomb on it and get out. The attack is nothing special. The only thing that's to say about this, the standard MCU plot armor is present. The plot armor that's always there for every character until the plot dictates otherwise. So that's episode 2. That's all. Episode 3 is practically just about one fight scene and certain roller skatering and practically nothing else. The beginning of the fight is kinda okay, but then it's just the basic MCU fight scene with nothing special. And with few problems. And there is one of them. When you have a character with a certain disability or weakness, you need to approach the fight choreography differently. Look at Daredevil. He's blind, but thanks to his other super senses, he sort of has 360-degree vision. So certain moves, when he's not facing someone, are actually quite possible. When you have someone who can't hear, you can't do that. You actually need to make the choreography so that she never wants enemy behind her because there is no way she can counter them. Or you could put mirrors in the area. They don't do anything different like that or special. They don't give a damn. Whenever she fights completely normally and is usually running in the middle of the enemies. There is nothing special about the fight scene. They're just completely basic fighting scenes. Nothing special. So, at the end of this fight scene, Maya is caught and nearly executed. But in the last moment, Kingpin calls and lets her live. The episode ends with Kingpin arriving. Episode number 4. Kingpin cries and says how amazing Maya is in this episode and how he literally wants Maya to kill him and take over his empire. Thank you for destroying another great character who had perfect casting. What a waste. She also discovers from her grandmother that every woman from her bloodline has the superpower to echo the powers of all previous generations of women from their bloodline, which starts with Chafa. Finally, the last episode. In this one, Kingpin, who is really sad that Maya didn't kill him or leave with him, decides to kidnap her grandmother and her cousin Bonnie. He also decides to kill all the people who came to a Choctaw festival, for some reason. He holds the hostages in a warehouse nearby the festival. Maya goes there, wakes up her superpowers, and at that moment her grandma and cousin also unlock their superpowers, and they easily defeat Kingpin and his goons. Then Maya gets into Kingpin's head and takes away his pain, which he has because of his abusive father. That's exactly what happens. So Kingpin literally runs away crying and lets Maya be. Oh, I forgot to mention how Kingpin's henchmen, who were supposed to massacre the people at the festival, are defeated. They arrived in 2 vans and parked them next to each other, and they wait inside those vans. Maya's second cousin, named Biscuit, just runs over the vans with Monster Truck. The Monster Truck just runs over them, and that's it. And that's practically how the show ends. This show is probably not the worst MCU show, but it's pretty bad. It's very boring, and a lot of time nothing is happening. The fight scene range from basic to horrible, and there is nothing else to offer. Kingpin is completely assassinated as a character, and Maya is portrayed as amazing, with enormous plot armor. She's always depicted as a victim, and is always portrayed as correct. As with every MCU show, you can feel that it's a 90-minute long movie stretched into a 5-episode TV show. I can't imagine that the original plan was for something like 8 episodes, later 6. I'm really happy it ended up with only 5. My final recommendation is, if you want to watch it, put it on double speed, so you don't waste so much of your precious time. Space Monkish, signing off.